Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to the podcast. I know it's been a while. We missed you guys. This is User-Not Found podcast.
Yeah, so it's been a little bit, but we're gonna get back at it. On my mind today is probably it's been a little bit. It's been around for a little bit, but the drones and stuff that's like around, like I forget, like New Jersey or something. Mostly around New Jersey, but they've popped up here and there around other places too.
Yeah, they're just getting a lot of coverage right now, but they've been hanging around military bases all over the country, the world for years. We call them drones, and some of them are. The interesting part is that there's also things people are calling orbs, which is just the round balls of light that are hanging out, and they're usually seen around the same place. So if you see some orbs, you might see a drone, or if you see a drone and you look around in the sky, there's an orb, and it's interesting.
Yeah, very much so. I think you've seen some stuff before around here of some like weird stuff flying around, and yeah, it's just kind of like orbs. I don't know if I've ever heard of the orbs. I feel like I've seen some stuff, but I don't know. I haven't seen many.
You'd be surprised. I think a lot of, or some of what we've seen in the sky, that you look up, you see some lights moving. Could be a lot of things. There's a lot of options in modern society. We got plane, drone, and I always try whenever I see something in the sky, I try to rule everything out. So the first thing I look for are, I pull out my app that can show me the satellites. So I'll look to see if it's a satellite. Not a satellite, then look for blinking lights, and then the next thing is probably a plane. No blinking lights sometimes. Sometimes there is, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's just a plane. Then I keep looking, and look for the way it's moving, the distance it's at. There's a lot of times we look up and we see something moving around, and like that's higher than a plane. Just so you know, a typical plane's at about 30,000 feet when they're at the highest.
Mhm.
They can go higher. They can fly lower. It just depends on the flight pattern. But then you look at how it's moving, and so if I'm lucky enough to see something that isn't a satellite, isn't a plane, and then it's truly something I can identify, that's pretty exciting, and it has been happening more and more often. What it is, that's hard to tell. We don't know. That's the big question, right? And why they've had three in the past, I think 18 or 20 months, they've had three meetings, in Congress, three congressional hearings with these whistleblowers, people who are coming forward and talking more and more about what they have seen while in the military. So there's a pilot, that his name is David Fravor. He Have you seen the Tic Tac video?
Um, no, I haven't seen any videos about that guy. I haven't seen that any videos. Is he like? He said he's a military pilot. Or he was.
Yeah, yeah. So like I said earlier, there's there these drones, quote unquote, have been hanging around military bases for a long time, and so they've been um, just hanging out, and people on those bases have seen a lot, but also uh, pilots flying off of those bases. They're always saying that they almost run into things all the time, which that's what becomes a security risk. And so one of these times, the pilot was just out, uh, flying around, and he saw a what looked like a tic tac, the tic tac candy,
Mm-hmm.
flying at an incredible rate of speed. And he was able, with his camera system on his plane, he was able to lock onto it. And then so he follows on, the way that they have weapon systems on their planes that can lock onto a target.
Mhm.
Well, this locked onto the target, but he wasn't going to shoot it. He just wanted to follow it with the video and then put it under some different detection systems. Like you can check it for heat, you can check and see if there's something that's propelling it, you can check it for a lot of different things. And he went in front of Congress and he told his story. And then he showed his video, and there were three or four other people. And so there's these are people that are trusted with the most expensive weapons that we have, and they're trusted people is what I'm saying. But they're also trained in observation. They've got to be the most observant people in the world. So they have hours and hours and hours up in the air, and so they're not just gonna see a bag of trash and be like, "Oh, UFO." They know what a bag of trash looks like, and they have sophisticated camera systems. It's just not HD. So the first thing people say when they see that video is like, "Oh, it's grainy." Well, no, great, another grainy UFO video. Well, it's not necessarily what that camera system is built for. It's built to see like a bunch of different things and detect and maybe in low light. And so anyways, three congressional hearings in 16 months, pretty crazy, pretty compelling that somebody of that trustworthiness would sit down in front of Congress and say, "Hey, look, this is what I saw. Check it out. I've got videos to back it up, and I've got what they call, I think it's a FLIR system, data to back it up." And so there's it's getting more and more compelling.
Mhm.
But the New Jersey drones definitely kind of reignited the interest that I've always had for that stuff, and that I know you've had.
Yeah. I feel like that stuff, it hasn't been as intense as it has, like hasn't been as much sightings as it has in the past, I don't know, couple years. There's been a lot more stuff. Probably it's been around for like when I could comprehend like this kind of stuff. So, but I know it hasn't always been around. But there was that one book that they made, like the blue. I forget what it's called. Like it's something like a government type book. That
Mm.
was the blue book. I forget what it was like
Hmm.
exactly called. Is I
Hmm.
don't know if that was the name, but that was something. So that proves it's not just a thing that's appearing right now. It's been around for a long time. But
Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of years since maybe I think Roswell was 1947. Some people theorize. They say, "Oh, there was like right after the U.S. blew up Japan with an atomic bomb, and aliens came because they saw that we had the power, the atomic power, and they've been working with us ever since because they say that we're like teenagers with a handgun, just young kids with something very dangerous and more dangerous than we know." So that's kind of what I've heard. It's just theories, right? We don't even know what these things are. Are they
Mhm.
alien? Are they some kind of technology that we don't know about? Or is it some top secret, uh, U.S. government or outside government, non-government organization? That's called an NGO. Um, it's hard to tell, but if you believe all the things that or some of the things that you can look into and vet and kind of get a better idea of what's real and not. It seems like more and more things are getting stranger and stranger. Like
Mhm.
reality is getting stranger and stranger.
Mhm.
So it's a cool time to be alive.
Mhm. I wonder if something's gonna come out in the next, I don't know, couple years, like 10 years or something about. No, it doesn't have to be like the government saying, "Oh yeah, there's definitely stuff like we're not even gonna try to hide it," but like stuff that's too obvious to not be anything else. Like to the Tic Tac thing, but then that becomes like a worldwide thing, and there'll be one in your backyard in like 10 years. It might just become too like common one day, something like that.
I think we're getting there already. It's already getting to that where people are looking outside and they're seeing like, whoa, what's that up in the sky? If you're in New Jersey, all you got to do is go outside at night, and you're probably seeing some weird stuff, and that's happening more and more. So we're, the thing is, it's not getting that mainstream attention. Like it got a little bit, but then people look at, they don't want anybody to panic, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. And I guess that's why this podcast is good, just to, uh, the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it, the more people kind of start accepting it into their daily reality. Where one day, yeah, 10 years from now, it's like, oh yeah, let me hop in my Tic Tac, and I'm gonna head over to see grandma back in the old country in 5 minutes, right? And like, if there is technology out there like that, what would it look like in our hands?
Mm-hmm.
Would we be able? Can we hop in one of these things and
Control it.
control, jump across the world, or go, visit a galaxy? I have no idea.
Yeah. Because if there was one way where we could control it, they might just be, I don't know, the aliens might have some powers that we don't have, like it's telekinesis, where they're the ones controlling the Tic Tac, and the Tic Tac is just kind of their defense of with like a border, but they're able
Mm.
to control it and like, I don't know, make it go straight or to grandma or whatever. Yeah.
Something tells me that it's maybe the other way around. Whatever is visiting has technology, but maybe not the powers. And this is just conjecture. Like it's all theoretical. This is a lot of assumptions, but to me it feels like we are the ones that have the powers. Perhaps maybe a little bit stronger. Our emotions, our connection to our mind and body. Um, the connection to the potential connection to the soul, and being interconnected, maybe as a population, more so than perhaps some aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even seen in government documents, declassified, where they've s- talked a little bit about how the some alien races consider us containers, and they don't say anything else. They're containers. What do you think we're containers for?
We might be containers like yeah, like you said, we have like the soul, we have the ability to like astral project and stuff. We might be containers for like something bigger or something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of hard thing to think about, containers.
Mm-hmm.
Because there can be a lot of containers. There can be we are containers. It can be our world is containers. It can be like, I don't know. It can be like the Earth itself with its atmosphere, and that's containing all the stuff. There can be a lot of stuff that it could be. So yeah, it could be, yeah. So a lot of stuff.
Yeah, when I hear that, it feels like it's our physical bodies are the containers, and containers for what? That's the big question. But in my own experience, that I think we've talked about a little bit here, with my experience in being able to, from a young age, even on accident, astral project, meaning go out of body, um, or whatever you want to call it, separating my consciousness from my physical body. It's been something that happened to me on accident, and for a while it was really scary. And then I got a little bit more control on it, and then, kind of similar to the path that you're on with lucid dreaming now, and then getting to that shaking state. Um, I know you. Do you want to tell the story of that dream that you had, where I think it was your first lucid dream. There was
Okay.
an alien involved.
All right. I'm trying to think. There's been a couple now, but oh, okay, yeah, I do remember now. So my first one was where I think I was in like some sort of, I don't know. It's been a little bit, but I was in like a spaceship, and or it was like a, kind of reminds me of a really advanced mall system. So it was like a big building that looked really sci-fi, and I think I was just walking through that. I don't remember exactly, but I think I was walking through it, and I started. Oh, you know what? I do remember. I was in a spaceship, and I was walking around it, and then I sat down in this really sci-fi chair, and there's like people around me, and I started getting this shaking feeling of like vibrating, almost like I feel like it'd be almost getting tased, or just like I was just
Hmm.
shaking, and I didn't know how to control it. So I was really scared. I was like, how do I stop this? How do I stop this? Stop. But then like I was just starting to get more calm and calm because it wasn't really doing anything. It was just shaking. It was kind of just like I was an earthquake or something. I don't know. But
Hmm.
I got this feeling and I was just started to get more calm. And then I knew I was in a dream, but I don't think that really lasted long. I think I went out pretty soon, like a little bit after that, but I just remember the shaking and that being really scary at the start because I didn't know what it was.
And so yeah, that's shaking vibration, something that I've definitely felt. It probably started around your age when I was sleeping, and I would just feel my whole body buzz. It's like a loud feeling of vibration. And at first, there was a buzz in my ears, and that eventually went away. And that was where I spent years just really scared. Um, People call night terrors. Have you ever heard of a night terror?
I've heard of things called like what is it? It's like um when you're
Sleep
paralyzed, yep, sleep
paralysis.
paralysis. I've heard of that. Night terrors, I feel like I don't know. It just reminds me of a nightmare. I haven't heard of that.
So night terrors is a form of sleep paralysis where you have sleep paralysis, but then you see like dark figures in the room, and maybe something will sit on your chest, and that's where I think a lot of people came up. If you look in certain books or lore, old myths of succubus, which was a lady that sat on your chest and took your breath. And that I think was derived from night terrors. I think a lot of people had them, and then they thought, oh, I saw a lady on my chest and she was, and then came up with that. They said must be demons.
Mm.
So I went through years of that, and like I thought, oh, was afraid to get to sleep. I was very scared until something in my it was a dream that I had one time where I was taught that I should be. It was a lucid dream, and I was taught that I should relax my body throughout that entire process, and that I should tell myself that I'm safe. So I
Mm.
did. I did that, and that was when I was able to. That vibration, that thing, that feeling was to me, and my personal experience was being able to separate um, my body from my astral body, my light body, my the conscious body. That's when I was able to do that, and it was it took years, but it was kind of by accident. It would always just happen. It
Mm.
wasn't anything I was trying to do, and it didn't feel like anything woo woo because it was just like my body was asleep, my mind was awake, and then I was able to enter that state um, almost by accident, and so that's kind of where that journey started. But being able to kind of use your dreams as like a tool
Mhm.
to figure more about yourself and figure more about your life is really I think something a lot of people should look into a lot more. I've been to that mall, by the way. I've been to the sci-fi futuristic mall. It's somewhere that I go a lot, and I don't know what it is, but I do go there a lot. Do you?
That was my first time. I probably have. I think I have one or two twice. I wonder. I have this. I just thought of this. I wonder if it's some sort of like airport, like where bodies come from one another and they all interlink just here, just like an international around airport that can take you from your conscious body to your normal and just all that. It might be just some sort of way to get around.
When you said mall, I was like, "Ooh, I wonder if he means the airport because that's what it feels like to me." And there were, how in the airport you can stand on those walkways, moving walkways.
Mhm.
There seems to be a ton of them, and then it's like a gigantic. There's level after level after level. The lighting is crazy. The glass is crazy. You can see outside, and you can see the stars. And so, yeah, that the airport. Um, I've also. This is gonna sound weird, but who cares? This is what we came here for. Um, have seen people who have passed away there at the airport. For the first, I'll get to there in a dream or whatever. Out when I'm outside of my body, get to the airport and meet with people like that. So, um, it's interesting that you would say that maybe it's a place where you're for your astral body to connect to your human body because it does seem to be like that there is at least a concourse or two there where you can meet people in transit.
Yeah. And that's a good reason why I think other people should try to look into it because you might be able to do a lot more than most people think, and we probably haven't even unlocked all of that because people they if people try to do it, they try to lucid dream, they try to do this, it might not work, it might, but if they can, then this might like it might be just like in like a huge kind of thing, like kind of like the what's it called? It happened like the in the it was back then. I forget what it was called, but it was like a huge step. It was when we went from like just like wooden stuff to the
Mm.
Industrial Revolution. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying. Yeah. So it might just be like a huge step into our knowledge, into what we know actually. Because me seeing dead people is not something that everybody like thinks is real. But if you can see dead people, then that's like huge. They can tell you stuff that you do or don't know. They can tell you a lot of stuff. So that's like I feel like that could be a huge thing if people get into it and they like yeah, they just really get into it.
It's a good place to stop.
Yeah. Okay.
Go out and investigate. Look a little deeper into your own lives, into your own dreams, into the world around you, and don't take everything for granted. Whatever is going on here, it's getting a bit stranger, and it might be better to shift your thinking a little bit more towards accepting some things that you previously didn't. It might be helpful to open your heart and make sure that you've got um, kindness and forgiveness in your heart for everybody around you, and turn the TV off, as Kendrick would say, and make sure you to influence the sphere of people you have around you, your neighbors, your community. Hold everything that you can closely, and and as we shift into these times and they get a little bit stranger and stranger, you can always rely on yourself and the community around you more so than yelling at each other on the internet.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.